President Biden has released a letter in which he says he is standing down from the 2024 election against Donald Trump. Another Democrat will be replacing Joe Biden in the 2024 presidential election. Now, the letter reads, "My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me re-elected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today, what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember, we are the United States of America. Signed, Joe Biden." President Biden there reflecting on his first term and showing us what real leadership looks like. It's putting the Democratic Party and the country before himself, something that the other side, the presidential candidate for the other side, has never done. It is always him first above everyone else. That candidate from the other side also talks about unity and bringing America together. This is how a real leader unifies a country and is able to put that country before himself. Now, obviously a sad day for Joe Biden, for the Democratic Party, and for America, especially after he has been fighting tooth and nail since his poor debate performance to show that he is a strong candidate, a candidate that will beat the opposition in November. Now, obviously, a number of questions arise from this. Who will replace him? How will it happen? It looks like Kamala Harris is in the best position to be the next candidate for president of the United States for the Democratic Party. Now, will she have a challenger? We've seen reports that there are elite donors and influential forces on the Democratic Party that do not want to see a president Kamala Harris. Will the Democratic Party unite and rally around her, or will we have a challenger? Now, analyzing this from a political perspective, President Biden, his only challenger in the primary was Dean Phillips, who couldn't get more than 5% of the votes. So that tells me that a Kamala Harris presidential run would unite the party, and the party would rally behind her. Next question is obviously who will be on Kamala's ticket if it is Kamala Harris. We've got a lot of talk about Pete Buttigieg, Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom since that Biden debate performance. I think for someone like myself who has been watching, these people over the years, I think a Harris-Buttigieg ticket is the way to go. You have a minority woman and a gay white man on a ticket. I think that tells America that the Democratic Party is positioned for the future of the country and really representing, that's what the Democratic Party stands for, is a big tent that represents all Americans. Something that, again, going back to Joe Biden's letter, that was something that he focused on, that it is the American people who are the strongest force that can do anything when we stay united. And again, uniting the country is what Joe Biden and the Democratic Party is all about. The opposition is about uniting the people who have the money and cutting their taxes. So we talked about who will replace President Biden. The real big gray area is how are they going to replace President Biden? If it is Kamala Harris, if it is someone else, how will it look like? Because we have the Democratic Convention coming up in just a few weeks. It starts on August 19th. And there are a number of legal obstacles standing in the way for the president to be nominated at that convention. And you have Republicans waiting in the wings to try to swoop in and to challenge the candidate who replaces President Biden on the ticket. And so if that were to happen, these Republicans would challenge it all the way to the Supreme Court, and we might end up having the Supreme Court choose the next president of the United States. And if you haven't been paying attention, the Supreme Court is totally bought and corrupt, and they will put Donald Trump back in the White House. That's another reason why I think President Biden is standing down now, because he knows that the party needs to get ready for the legal challenges that will come from the Republican Party. Now, it is a sad day for Joe Biden, the Democratic Party, and America, but I believe that a day like today will energize the Democratic Party and our country and democracy. It will revitalize the democratic debate and how we see our country moving forward and who will lead us, not just for another 4-8 years, but for decades in the future. So please let me know what your reflections are of President Biden standing down in the 2024 presidential election. Who do you think will replace him? How do you think it will look? Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't for more political videos in the future, and turn on those notifications so you get them delivered straight to you. My name is Brendan Plank with Reflect, and I'll see you in the next video.